Today we have with us someone who's not only a driving force in the EdTech and academic space, but also a champion of leadership, governance and transformation. Dr. Rashmi Raghunath.
That is the power of EdTech. And this power of how technology blended with education can make the effect far-reaching is what made me levitate towards EdTech.
With your extensive experience in both education and business leadership, Dr. Rashmi, you face both the successes and challenges.
AI has been the most disruptive, yet the most groundbreaking and revolutionary tech that we have come across in recent times.
Hey everyone, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. Hey everyone, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I'm your host Charu Mehra, and today we have an episode that is going to leave you inspired, informed, and motivated. We're diving into a powerful conversation about leadership, innovation, and the future of education and business with a remarkable guest. Today, we have with us someone who's not only a driving force in the EdTech and academic space, but also a champion of leadership, governance, and transformation. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Rashmi Raghunath, Head of EdTech Projects at Sarvaantar AI Solutions Pvt Limited. With an incredible track record that spans over 2 decades, Dr. Rashmi has been at the forefront of academic management, startup ecosystems, and innovative leadership. From pioneering academic programs and research collaborations to setting up laboratories for cutting edge research, her career has been nothing short of impactful. She has actively shaped educational structures, led teams to build meaningful business models, and steered projects that truly matter in today's fast changing world. Dr. Rashmi, thank you so much for joining us today. It is truly an honor to have you here today.
Thank you, Charu. That was a very generous introduction indeed. It is my pleasure to have been part of Directors Institute and to be here today discussing this with you. Thank you.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to having a great conversation with you.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Dr. Rashmi, once again, it's a pleasure to have you here today. Your journey from academia to startup world is incredibly inspiring. You worked in biochemistry, scientific research, and now lead EdTech projects. What was the defining moment that made you realize the potential of blending technology with education? And how did that shift shape your leadership approach? And what challenges did you face in this transition?
Okay. So as a researcher and professor, dependence on technology has been a constant focus, whether it is for teaching and upgrading with the newest information, or is it whether it is for research material or updating ourselves to softwares that help us with research. Dependence and usage of technology has always been like a professional habit. So I couldn't say it was a defining moment. But having said that, even when I was in academics, I always felt that technology should be more than just, supportive to research or teaching.
Right.
For example, access to courses are very limited in the traditional collegiate system. They are limited by which are the courses the colleges decide to provide, or the number of seats that they want to provide for it, and various other considerations. even from a student's perspective, accessibility is limited. It might be geographical limitations.
Right.
It could be, things like, accessibility to routine transportation, or even fees when we talk about private institutions and private providers. So
Right.
it is a very limiting system. So I will say that the blending of technology and education has brought about a remarkable revolutionary change in ways of how learning can be improved. Take an example. Let us say there is a biology major. Okay. Now he has got that through a traditional collegiate system, say. Now, he can simply take an additional online course from a non-local college or even a foreign university in, say, photography or drawing.
Right.
That opens up them to professions like biomedical, animation, science animation, imaging, or even data visualization experts, do all this. So that is the power of EdTech. And this power of how technology blended with education can make the effect far reaching is what
Right.
made me levitate towards ethic. Also, when I was working with IBAB, that is Institute of Bioinformatics and Applied Biotechnology, I had a chance to work with this startup ecosystem of IBAB itself and also of Bangalore Bioinnovation Center.
Okay.
So working with them, I was able to, work with innovators and talk with them, and I was able to understand what are the risks other than the technical and procedural science as such. What are the risks that innovators face? What are the resource limitations? What are the adaptability changes? What are the adoption rates and what influences them? These were
Right.
all things that I was able to learn from there. And that exposure gave me a lot of input into how blending of science with the right policies and right infrastructure, how that becomes very important for making them scalable, and how government frameworks can really improve the success rate of startups, and how turnaround rates can be improved. Now these
True.
are insights that I got from the startup ecosystem. I was able to really empathize with the innovators risks. So in my career journey, I have this unique combination of academic leadership and an understanding of the startup sector. And
Right.
I think, that puts me in a very advantageous position. And that played a very important role when I forayed into EdTech, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So as in an EdTech company, when you're trying to blend two different things, you're working with a variety of stakeholders.
Right.
In this, experience of these two systems or domains, it helped me be able to put myself in place with all the stakeholders.
Right.
I could understand the standing of students, teachers, other institutional players, as well as innovators, investors, even regulators, for that
Mm-hmm.
matter.
Right.
So
Right.
I feel that this unique combination puts me in a very advantageous position, so that I can bring a lot of value into the products and processes that I work with.
Right.
And of course, now that I am a certified, independent director, and in the process of reaching this stage, I have really understood, the importance of governance, policy making, decision making, how, leadership can really impact the industry and sector at large. Those are great learnings. So, I would say I'm at a very exciting and happy place because, I am in a place where I can make decisions that can have
Right.
far-reaching effects,
Thanks.
something more than, what I have been able to do so far in my career.
Right, right, right. That is so wonderful, ma'am. It's really fascinating to see how you connected vision, execution, and the structured leadership. And all while creating systems for long-term impact. It really shows a strategic, board-ready mindset, and it is more inspiring and very tangible for our listeners. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes, my pleasure.
All right. Dr. Rashmi, you've been a driving force behind EdTech projects that are not only focused on immediate challenges, but also on creating scalable, long-term solutions. As organizations look to integrate technology into education, what are the critical pillars that ensure these innovations are sustainable, align with educational objectives, and meet business goals?
Mm, See, integrating technology into education is a multidimensional challenge. Too many facets that need to be considered. On the technical side, we have the devices and the softwares and their features to consider. Availability of internet in non-urban areas,
Right.
data privacy is required. A continuous handholding and technical support is required. These are some of the challenges on the technical side. When you do go on to the implementation side, whenever we are trying to introduce a change, it is going to be against the existing system. It is disruptive to the existing system.
Right.
And sometimes the product itself might be disrupting too. So it is not going to be welcomed by the stakeholders, right? So, it becomes a uphill task both for the institution as well as for the company to work around, such a situation.
Right.
Also, another dimension, a more critical one, is, balancing innovation with applicability.
Right.
Right? What are the stakeholder requirements? What is the pain point that they are trying to solve by using this product? Are
Right.
we able to address that? Are we able to give them that product or software or that feature which can really add value to their day-to-day pain point?
Right.
That is the most critical thing. Another dimension, and the much larger one, is always the business goal, right? So if you cannot make a success of the product as a business, then there is no sustainability to it.
Right.
And no matter what innovations you can come up with, if it doesn't succeed as a business, then there is no impact of that product
Agreed.
for the societal good.
Agreed.
So, a lot of these things come into picture on a day-to-day process, right? So, to address something like this will require a very multi-pronged approach. So to make up a successful product, the core imperatives will be creating ownership in the users, or providing structured processes that are customized for different stakeholders,
Right.
or even different users. Admins need a certain process, while teachers need another standardized process, and so on and so forth. Then you have to, as a product provider, you have to provide them with SOPs that they can fall back to, when they are stuck. Or, you have to provide them training for smooth adaptability and usage. Also, you have to create mechanisms for, taking feedback and, improving it upon for their specific processes.
Right.
Or, do analytics on their data usage and improve the process for their applicability. You will have to identify initial setbacks and work with the users to be able to set a process that really works out for them. And these are just some of the things that you have to routinely consider.
Right.
But for the whole process, for any product to become successful, both in the business sense and in the sense of usability or adaptability, non-negotiables will be stakeholder management.
Yes.
Stakeholder management has to be empathetic but firm, because, like I said, it is not welcome by them. So you have to empathize with that.
Yes.
All human beings are resistant to change.
Right.
That is a psychology. So you have to be empathetic about it, but firm that it is for their greater good and over a period of time it is beneficial to them is something that you have to be able to firmly enforce in their minds. Also non-negotiable to make it more adaptable, acceptable in the long run. There has to be cross-functional team coordination, course correction as is required. Your product idea and processes are one thing, but when you start using it on the ground level, then there are a lot of things that will come up. So course correction has to be part of not accommodating it. It is a non-negotiable because that is what will directly lead to a product success. So all of this you are still doing by to maximize product utility as well as to build a enduring business model that thrives through ups and downs and in the longer range. So yes, it is a challenging uphill process, very complicated, but the end result is a sweet, happy spot for the company and for the users.
Yes. Wow, that was a well-rounded and insightful perspective, ma'am, and it truly captures the complexity and the depth involved in leading EdTech transformations. I particularly appreciate how you've woven together the challenges and the key learnings, making the journey feel both authentic and relatable. So, thank you for sharing that with us. It effectively reflects the thought balance required to drive sustainable innovation while staying aligned with educational and business objectives.
Much needed in the sector right now.
With your extensive experience in both education and business leadership, Dr. Rashmi, you face both the successes and challenges. So, looking ahead, what do you see as the biggest opportunities and risks in education and businesses? And what strategies should leaders adopt to navigate potential disruption and manage risk while ensuring ethical, accountable transformations that create lasting value for the stakeholders?
It's very opportune that you ask such a question now, Charu. AI has been the most disruptive, yet the most groundbreaking and revolutionary tech that we have come across in recent times.
Right.
So your question coming at this juncture is very interesting. So when we are at such junctures, strategic leadership and ethics-oriented decision making is what is going to be able to help us convert risks into opportunities. Right? So even in the above example, AI itself, there was so much speculation about AI and all aspects of AI, especially after it became open source availability. Right? We were never thinking too much until AI was customizing our playlist or customizing our Netflix feed. We weren't thinking about AI so much.
Agreed.
The moment it became open source, so much speculation has been forthcoming. The recent report by Anthropic, that is the makers of OpenAI, have released a report 3 weeks ago. It answers a lot of these speculations. What are the usage statistics across industries? What is the effect of AI on unemployment? It talks about the demographics of the users, and all of these facts have come out from actual usage data. Right? So at one end, there was all these things about AI, this will happen, that will happen. And now we have actual user data saying this is what is actually happening. Right? So at such junctures, technology and information keeps evolving from time to time. Right? And at such junctures, leaders have to be knowledgeable and decisive about such things. The leader should have foresight and, insight into knowing how such, technology can influence our sector. What are the business opportunities that can come out of it? what is the business potential of such opportunities, evaluation of risk versus reward. These are all
Right.
leadership prerogatives that will really help in being able to capture the new technology and convert it into possible businesses, and therefore for the possible societal usage.
Right. Right.
Right. So risk anticipation, setting up of risk management frameworks, accountability mechanisms, ethical oversight. These are all governance aspects that leaders cannot do without. You
Right.
know. So while at the same time working with such technologies, especially when the ground is not very solid, any new tech shakes up things, right? So we are making decisions from a certain standpoint which is not fully understood, right?
Agreed.
So that makes it more imperative for keeping aspects of stakeholder accountability and operational transparency, ethical implications. How much is too much? How good is it for the different stakeholders? Will it really affect the shareholders too much if it goes into the market? These are very even compliance networks and regulatory networks, which is very very unappreciated in the edtech sector as of today. These are things that key aspects that leaderships need to pay attention to, and that is one way where in the ever changing world of technology, one way that we can stay relevant, use the latest ones, but still end up doing good in the long term perspective. That is how I think leadership plays a role there.
Wonderful. That was so insightful to hear both the opportunities and risks framed through a governance and accountability lens. The focus on structured strategies and risk management really highlights practical leadership in action. So, thank you for sharing your views on that. All right, Dr. Rashmi, we're diving into the quick fire round. I'll ask you a series of questions and you can answer with a simple yes or no. Ready?
Okay.
All right, let's do it. The first one. Do you think technology can fully replace traditional classroom learning?
No.
Great. Okay, next one. Do you believe that leadership is more about intuition than strategy?
Uh, Both together
Both
is
together.
a balanced approach.
Okay, all right. Is work-life balance a myth for leaders?
Should not be.
But it is.
Happens, different phases, it turns out like that.
Like that.
Sometimes you are able to do that, at other times you're not able to do that.
Right.
Overall, if it is fine, I think that is a great achievement.
Okay. Do you see AI having a significant role in shaping the future of education?
Definitely, yes.
Definitely, yes. Okay. The last one for the day. Would you ever consider taking a break from technology and returning to pure academic research?
No,
No?
no.
All right. That was an amazing quick fire round. Thank you for being so candid with us here. Dr. Rashmi, the rise of EdTech has brought remarkable innovations, but it has also led to concerns about accessibility of these technologies, particularly for underserved communities. What if an EdTech company launches a new product with great potential but faces backlash for not addressing the digital divide adequately? How should leadership and boards respond in such situations to ensure that their products are accessible and beneficial to all students, regardless of their background?
Hmm. Uh, Balancing innovation with equitable access is an ongoing concern,
Right.
especially since and after the COVID phase, where majority of all learning shifted to the online mode. Accessibility became a greater cause of concern.
Right.
Right. Okay, now talking about the particular scenario that you have put across. Okay, so this situation requires a typical balanced combination of strategic troubleshooting with societal impact monitoring, because we are at a juncture where there is a problem with the product and we are trying to troubleshoot that. So it will have a lot of emphasis on social responsibility. At the same time, it should work in favor of the business goal as well. So on the governance front, the very first thing should be to identify this identify and accept this issue that has come. So recognize the issue and be able to accept that the accessibility gap is there. Acknowledge the issue, acknowledge the problem.
Right.
This acknowledgement is going to create a transparency, which is going to be beneficial for the company, as well as it will build a trust in the stakeholders and users. So
Right.
transparency is the key to developing a trust in such a scenario.
Right.
Of course, after that, it is all a lot of self-audit by the company. What is it that the inequality is about? How to address it? Do identification of potential inequities. Then look for if there are compliance and regulatory norms that have to be introduced or included. Is it in alignment with ethical standards? A lot of these self-audit by the company will give us a good idea about how the stakeholder expectations can be met.
Right.
Okay? Once this fact-finding phase is over, then we have to build a product adaptation scheme.
Right.
Now, again, there will have to be risk assessment for this scheme, see if it fits, will it work, doesn't work. All of that is again going to be a internal process. Then comes the actual rollout of the adapted product.
Right.
A rollout framework, because we're talking about troubleshooting an existing problem, rollout becomes a very critical issue. How we are able to roll it out in such a way that there is lesser resistance, it meets the requirements of the community that was under privileged or addressed in the previous version.
Right.
That becomes a very important issue. In India, the collaborative partnership between the EdTech companies, governments or NGOs,
Right.
and telecom providers has worked as a wonderful collaboration that has made digital divide viable. I mean,
Right.
to overcome the digital divide in a viable fashion. It has worked very well. This partnership has seen greater penetration into under developed scenarios. There is a greater adaptability and adaptation because all the important players are stakeholders in making this possible.
Right.
And that is a beautiful thing that has worked for us post-COVID. So throughout this, we have the scheme that is ready and you have a rollout plan. Sometimes the business goals have to be, readjusted. You might have to, change the business model, or maybe you have to provide subscriptions. You might even have to roll out, freebies initially to, tide over the resistance that was there and to, put that extra step ahead towards, societal usage. So those things go a long way in not shelving the product, but, product usability, as well as making it accessible to everybody across the societal strata. That becomes very important. From the governance perspective, throughout this entire process, investors, stakeholders, relevant regulatory bodies, all of them have to be kept notified. The processes have to be updated for the inclusion outcomes have to be documented. Board decisions have to be documented. All players have to be kept in the loop about the inclusion outcomes that were there.
Right.
So I think, we boil down to the same thing. Whenever see, even in general, it is of course important, but especially at troubled times, ethical commitments, long-term societal impact across this data, and policy-driven approaches become very important. They are important in any company, but more so for the edtech sector because we are in a growing, we are still a growing sector. So
Yes.
that becomes more paramount, especially given the scenario that you were talking about. So yes, those are the, winning theories that we cannot work without.
Wow. So it's clear how governance and structured oversight can proactively address accessibility concerns here. And I appreciate the focus on accountability and long-term sustainability. It really shows ethical leadership in practice. So thank you for sharing your views on that with us. From a governance perspective, what key lessons have the EdTech sector learned in recent years, particularly after phases of rapid growth followed by market corrections? Additionally, what governance challenges are uniquely characteristic of EdTech companies compared to the other technology sectors, especially in balancing innovation with academic accountability, regulatory compliance, and measurable learning outcomes?
Yeah. We have had our share of learnings. Quietly, mostly we have had a lot of earnings as a sector, especially because it is a still younger sector, and we have been in the initial phase of experimentation of what works, what doesn't work.
Right.
So there were radical things like the alt school, which by its concept itself was so radical. But then we saw it fold in 3 years.
Right.
Then, then came the digital classrooms. And then we learned how graduation rates fell. Then we saw the MOOCs, and we saw that the lowest 3%, 5%, 8% completion rates was what we achieved with the MOOCs. So yeah, we have had our learnings, and we have now come to the use of a sort of a hybrid model that works with it. So
Right.
yeah, we now understand that even though EdTech democratizes access to education,
Mhm.
success hinges on pedagogical quality, personalization, localized content.
Right.
Cannot have platforms and softwares and technology that will surpass, human mentorship or peer interactions. So we
Mhm.
have come to that understanding, which is the primary principle of edtech. And
Right.
so that learning puts us has put us in a place where we can take that and move forward, right? Then coming to the governance and regulatory aspects, we saw Byju's and their financial mismanagement, absolute non-compliance and flouting of accountancy standards. Then there was Vedantu and their unscrupulous practices about marketing and all that. Data
Right.
breach is the villain for the tech industry. As even big players like Chromebook and everybody are being in the limelight for it. So
Right.
yes, we have had a lot of learnings, and I think one of the major things, especially in the Indian setup, a lot of edtech, majority of edtech companies, in fact, were dream projects of innovators
Right.
who took it to become a business model by themselves,
Yes.
right? So
Right.
although the tech was always very effective, there was a lack of knowledge about the various business aspects like go to market strategies, or marketing and advertising, strategies, or regulatory and compliance requirements. All these have been lacking. And
Mhm.
that has been a major drawback for the success of techs and innovators to really kick off.
Right.
There has been a lot of government initiatives like, Startup India is a great initiative. So there have been a lot of government-led approaches that have really stood by startups and innovators. There is the Startup India initiative that has worked very well. Then there is the seed funding schemes. Then the establishment of huge numbers of incubators and mentoring centers. All of them, they are giving wonderful results. As a result of these initiatives, there are a lot of government, startups that are able to turn around.
Right. Right.
But we, the bottom line is that we have learned that we cannot run an edtech company as any other pure startup tech company, right? Because we are talking about, things like learning, which is the ultimate outcome. And it is a qualitative factor, right? Then there is, a lot of, phases we have crossed through where a lot of focus was on venture funding.
Right.
Right. And the system evolved in such a way that, we were piecing together different capabilities to help innovators.
Right.
Right. And there was, weak profitability models and all of these. Of course, it is natural for any growing sector. And these are the things that we have come to. But I think now is the time that we should have a collaborative industry-specific model.
Right.
From all these learnings, we have to come to the next stage where this industry, this is what will work, and this is the infrastructure we will set up for it. This is the governance and network we will set up for it, and this is how it will benefit the sector. Right. We have come to a stage where we are able to build that kind of a sustainability model, and right. I'm very sure in the near future it will happen. So from the governance practice perspective, we need to prioritize real revenue generation versus valuation. We need sustainable unit economics. We need to build compliance infrastructures. We need to ensure the infrastructures of compliance and regulatory are made a business habit from the early on stages.
Right, get go. Yes.
Then we have to be able to design products that will fit with the evolving education policies. Then always keeping in mind the consumer and consumer data protection. Always prioritize accountability, because the learners are a generation who will be widely affected if we don't keep accountability as our pillar in the sector. So, so these are the things that have come out of our learnings. But all said and done, Charu, EdTech sector as a whole is a very, complex case. Right. We are always dealing with two things that are very difficult to balance. We are trying to balance, business and societal impact.
Yes.
Which fundamentally, diverge.
Right.
But we have to pull them together and make them move parallelly. Then we have to, we are talking about users who are end users, the people for whom the product will influence are going to be children and teenagers and young adults, vulnerable set of people. Then we are dealing with a success parameter, which is very difficult to achieve. We are trying to talk about learning.
Right.
Right. So every time we talk about tech and business and everything, we have to balance it with learning. And look for outcomes that hold together with pedagogical background and with traditional learning outcomes. Right. So always trying to keep profitability And societal sustainability, is a constant focus
Yeah.
in the edtech industry. Very, very tricky. But
But that's
all
really
said and
interesting
done,
to know your views on this.
yes, these are things that we have come through, and we have to grow through this. So,
Yes.
as ungovernable or as unmanageable the situation looks like, we are in a place where we have our learnings, right? Then we have understood, what works, what doesn't work.
Right.
We have understood the risks of, of various practices. And, we have a set of KPIs for the industry as a
Right.
whole. So
Right.
we are standing at that, standpoint where we have come through experimentation. We have our learnings now. We have supportive systems, and there is the India Tech Consortium that is playing a regulatory and prominent role. We have government support and all that. So we are in this stage where we have our learnings and we have
Yeah.
the system ready to work with us. So the next phase has to is obviously going to be exciting, where we take this and grow forward, come up with wider reach, come up with more innovative products that can be wonderful for the education
Right.
sector. I think these are challenging and exciting times, and I'm
Thanks.
so happy that I am there at such a juncture. Absolutely wonderful for me.
Wonderful, ma'am. That really, brings out how the edtech sector is learning to balance with stronger governance, especially after periods of rapid growth and correction. Uh, I feel the emphasis on accountability, compliance, and measurable outcomes highlights a shift towards more sustainable and integrated models. And it also reflects the unique challenge in EdTech for aligning multiple stakeholders while maintaining academic rigor and scalability. So it was really interesting hearing your views on that, and thank you for sharing those with us. As someone who is there when it is happening, your inputs give us a lot more clarity. So moving on to the last question of the day, Dr. Rashmi. Joining Directors Institute World Council of Directors must have been an exciting step in your career. How has being part of this organized organization impacted your approach to leadership and governance?
I'm very happy I chose Directors Institute and World Development Council for, enhancing this phase of my career journey. It has not just been a, content or a course provider from where, I will get my learning.
Right,
Directors Institute has been instrumental in exposing me to the various aspects of governance, of global trends, of ethical leadership, and how much leadership perspective really impacts businesses and stakeholders.
right.
That is something that it's a perspective that I will cherish in my entire phase of this journey, probably. Value creation for stakeholders, ethical leadership, and going that extra mile to uh, be in the right path for
Right.
the sake of shareholders. Those are my biggest take homes from my journey. Hearing all the business leaders and industry doyens talking to us and giving us webinars and podcasts and their perspectives, all that has really, given me a, so you can say, a drone's eye view about what global governance
What it
is,
seems like.
and the ever changing expectations and scope of independent directors. Oh, I have I can say that Directors Institute has changed my view of business and business houses, and it has introduced me to this wonderful world of corporate governance.
Wow.
Very happy.
Wow, that is so wonderful to hear, and thank you for that wonderful feedback, ma'am. And you know, Um it is nice to hear that how being part of Directors Institute has shaped your leadership outlook. The perspective on governance and leadership learning is really inspiring. And what is personally inspiring to me is that you've had such an extensive career already, and you're still looking forward, still open to learning new skills and enhancing your knowledge on certain aspects of your career. So that is really wonderful, and I really wish you all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you, Charu. It has been wonderful talking to a lovely host like you. It has been a great experience for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, ma'am. For being with us today and sharing your incredible insights. Your experience and vision in the edtech space are truly inspiring, and I'm sure our listeners have gained so much from this expertise. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on FaceTime with Leaders. Thank you again, Dr. Rashmi, and thank you for having this, giving me such an interesting conversation today. I really enjoyed talking to you. To our listeners, we appreciate you tuning in. Stay inspired, keep innovating, and we'll see you in the next episode of FaceTime with Leaders. Until then, take care.